Peter Boolkah here, and welcome to today's edition of The Transition Guy. Now, today's episode, we're going to be looking at the whole area around the job description is dead. Yes, you heard me correctly, the job description is dead. Now, if you think about it, what does a job description do? Well, it tells you what the job's going to be, and then it tries to prescribe to you how you're going to do that job. Now, when you look 30, 40 years ago, and the world was moving at such a slower pace, I'd probably say, yeah, the job description had a really valid place. Because really how we did the job probably did not vary from one year to the next. That was a fact. Because things were just so slow moving, there was no real introduction to technology or anything like that. So change was minimal. You look at where we are today, change is so unbelievably quick. You think of technology, well, technology just keeps evolving. It changes the way that we think, it changes the way that we work, it changes the way that we communicate. Therefore, very often what you'll find is a job description that one does today is void tomorrow, because the world changes at that speed. So where I tend to speak to my clients, and when we tend to sort of look at the recruitment processes, we don't tend to look at sort of job descriptions, we tend to look at job outcomes. What do you want for the job? And the reality is, clients out there, businesses out there do not do enough of this. Now I've got a client that very much didn't want to take on board the job outcomes. They just want to look at the job description. I wanted someone on board that would be a salesperson. This is probably one of the worst positions for job descriptions. So they had someone coming on board that had been a successful, in their terms, this person's terms, a successful salesperson. And this was going to be the job description. And very much what happened is 3 months in, and my clients are really bitching about this person, saying, well, do you know what? This person isn't doing what they're meant to be doing in terms of getting results. We're not getting no sales, and we're paying them a lot of money. And I said to my client, okay, that's fair enough. So you're really frustrated with this person. Let's look at the job description. And they looked at the job description, and it was all around making outbound phone calls, etc., emails, So I said, okay, fine. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go and follow up. I want you to pull the call log, so both on the landline and on the mobile. I want you to check the emails, and I want you to go and check the activity. Now this caused its own problem, because my clients were really uncomfortable with that. They looked at me saying, well, we can't do that. We are spying on the person. Well, you're not exactly spying on the person, you're following up on the person. There's a big difference between spying and following up. Obviously you pay this person to do the job, they're not doing the job, go and do what I've asked you, go and find the information and we'll discuss it. Well, lo and behold, they went, they got the information, and guess what? None of the activity was being done. I mean, this person was saying, well, they're super busy, yet they weren't making no telephone calls. I think it was like 3 telephone calls a day, 2 of which were internal. So, fair enough, let's go and speak to the salesperson. So they went and spoke to the salesperson. The salesperson said, I don't really like the telephone. Okay, good, so we don't like the telephone. So we ruled out the telephone. So we checked the emails, confront the person about the emails. I'm not an email person. Bearing in mind this person would send 5 emails a day, and we're working an 8-hour day here. So that wasn't working. I'm more of a face-to-face person. So then we tracked how many appointments that person was doing. They were doing no more than 3 appointments a week. You see, the reality was there some bullshit coming out here? A heap load of bullshit. And the reality was, had we flipped it on its head, killed off the job description, and went for job outcomes, and I tend to use this thing called 10 conditions of success. So in order for this role to be successful, what are the 10 things that must happen, outcome-wise, for it to be truly a win-win? And then what you're looking at is you're looking at outcomes, aren't you? You're looking at, well, this is what the end result of this position will sort of produce. And I've got another client where we've actually put this in place and we've got outcomes. And the harsh reality is, after 3 months, outcomes do not lie. And you can look at the outcomes, you can look at the figures in detail, and if that person isn't achieving the outcomes, then we can go back, look at what they're doing, how they're doing, etc. But if someone then with corrective coaching still doesn't deliver the outcomes, guess what you're forced to do as a business owner? You're forced to deal with performance issues a lot earlier than if you are when it comes to a job description. So I urge you, as owners of your business, as recruiters in your business, as managers in your business, let's move over to an outcome-based system. Let's start looking at results. Let's be clear about what results we want at the front end, and then let's hold people accountable to their results. It's no different to what, let's say, sports teams do all the time. You can imagine in the NBA, in the English Premiership, whatever the sport, where we bring people on board to play in a team, the whole purpose of them coming on the team is for us to win. So if a football team isn't winning, what does it do? It either gets rid of the manager because the manager cannot get the best out of the team, or it starts looking at the players, and the players that just are not making the cut, the ones that are not actually hitting the outcomes that we need, they get swapped out for someone that can. Why is that any different in your business? So if you're interested in becoming more of an outcomes-based recruitment business, as opposed to a job description-based recruitment business, then head over to Boolkah.com and get in contact. And remember, failing to learn is learning to fail.